Hey everybody and welcome back. So today we are going to do a book review on Lord of the Flies. It is by William Golding and he is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and let me just tell you guys, this book is absolutely amazing. If you have not read it, you should read it. Also, I know I said that I was going to be reviewing and reading a fruit basket book, but what happened was where I had the giant first volume, it was actually 2 books in one. So I actually bought the book that was already in the big book that I have, so I had to wait until this one came in. So I am reading this one now, and I will be doing a review on this next. So, Lord of the Flies. Seriously, guys. I'm going to give you guys some spoilers because, you know, I like to talk about the book. And if you guys have already read the book, please let me know in the description below what you thought of it, because everybody's had to read this book. It came out until like 1950s. It actually tells me right here. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't tell me right there. 1954, so if you haven't read it, it is such a good book. But if you have not read it and you want to read it, you can go ahead and click off this video and then come back after you read it, so you can tell me your thoughts and ideas of the book, because that's what I like here, is you guys tell me what you like and I tell you what I like, and we just have a conversation. It's like one gigantic book club. And if you guys want to follow around with the books that I read, this will be the next one I read, so get ready for this discussion. Stop it, Isabel. So, in this book, these boys, a bunch of them, they, and guys, again, spoilers. Literally, this is the big, giant spoiler alert. And I'm sorry, my kids are here and they are loud. So, all these kids, they landed on this island and they're by themselves. They're probably about around the ages from 5 to, I think, 12, maybe? And the main boys is Ralph, Piggy, Jack, and Roger, I think. Ralph is elected the leader, and he is trying to keep all these kids together and to make shelters and keep a signal fire going, and Jack just wants people to hunt and to play and act like savages. He doesn't want anything to do with all that stuff, and it really makes Ralph aggravated because nobody's listening to him. So the first day that they're there, they accidentally set half the island on fire and a little boy goes missing. Well, we all know and we all assume that he got caught in the fire and he died. So time passes and the trouble starts happening when Jack grabs Sam and Eric and he makes them go hunting, and that means that the fire was let out and there was a ship that passed and they didn't see the signal fire. So that made Ralph really angry and they got to a fight and stuff. And then Piggy, which is Ralph's friend, and I love this character so much and it really depresses me when I think about him. But anyways, Piggy gives Ralph advice and they're trying to keep everything civilized. Well, then they start talking about a beast, a monster on the island and stuff, and all the kids are scared and it's freaking the little ones out and all this other stuff. Well, I guess in the middle of the night, one night, a parachuter out of a plane, fell out of a plane or whatever, and he lands on the island. So the twins, Sam and Eric, sees it, but they don't see it in the daylight and they think it's a monster. So they run down the hill, abandon the signal fire, and they go and tell everybody. Well, everybody does not immediately go up the hill to check. I guess they didn't think that the monster would be there. So they go all around the island looking for this monster and they don't find it. But they do find this cool little castle hideaway cave thingy. And Jack said that'd be a great place for a base one day or whatever. So they're all fighting and Jack's like, if you want me to be chief, say it. And nobody said it, so he left. And it's just Ralph and his gang and Piggy and Jack did not like each other because Jack was kind of a bully. He was a very mean person, a very mean kid, and he was very mean to Piggy because he was a little bit chubby. So he leaves, and then the next day some more of Jack's friends leave because they were all in the choir together. And they're like, well, we will go and steal some of their fire and we'll go hunt and we'll have a feast. That's what they do. And then during all this time, during the hunting and everything, Simon, he's kind of losing it a little bit being on the island. He's talking to himself. He sees this pig head in the wood that Jack had actually left and put on a stake. and he talks to it and he passes out and he's going insane kinda. Well, he climbs up the mountain for whatever reason, I don't remember why. He goes up the mountain and he sees that it's actually not a monster, that it's a dead body, and that it's attached to a parachute, so that's why it's moving, because every time the wind would blow, the body would like sit up or whatever. So he's like, I gotta tell the others, I gotta tell them what's going on. So during this, he's going back down the island and he's trying to find Ralph and Piggy. Well, Ralph, Piggy, Sam, and Eric, they go to Jack's camp to have a feast with them, and they're trying to piece stuff up, and all of them can be like together and whatever. So they're there and they're eating and they're dancing, and then the boys start chanting, kill the pig, slit its throat, something, spill the blood. I think that's the chant. And they're all getting into it and they're dancing. Well, I guess Simon trips and he comes out of the woods, and the kids just swarm around him and then murder him, basically. They beat him to death and they're hitting him with spears and stuff, and he falls off the side of the cliff and he goes to the beach, but the tide rises and it washes him away. And it starts raining and all the kids scatter, and that is just so heartbreaking that these kids could just like murder another kid. They're just kids. Well, so they go separate, and the next morning Ralph feels sick about what he witnessed. He feels sick that he witnessed this murder, and so did Sam and Eric, and so did Piggy. They all try to keep the signal fire going because it's only them left as of the big kids, and then there's a bunch of little kids running around, and so it's only them left, and they're trying to keep the fire going, and it was really hard for that whole day because there's only 4 of them and they have to get like a lot of wood and stuff. So that night they all go to sleep, and Jack realizes that they're in their new hideout. They're in that like Castle Rock cave or whatever, that place. It's like up on a hill. So he's like, tonight we'll go and we'll steal fire from them. Well, what actually happens is in the middle of the night they go and they steal Piggy's glasses, and he can't see without his glasses. See, he's just like one of those school bullies, just all jacked up with power, okay? So they steal his glasses, and the next morning Piggy said, I want to go get my glasses. So they go to the rock cliff and they're talking to Jack, and they're like, dude, those are his glasses, he needs them to see. That is not cool. If you wanted fire, we would have gave you fire. We can't keep this signal up. We want to go home. We want to be rescued. And Jack isn't taking it. He fights with Ralph, and then all of a sudden, I think his name is, I don't remember, Roger. He like pulls down a rock, like he pushes a rock over and it hits Piggy, and Piggy gets pushed over the edge of the cliff and he dies because it was a long fall, and I guess he hit his head on something, and it just wasn't good. So he dies. And that breaks my heart because he's one of my favorite characters in the book, and I did not appreciate him dying. They're all coming at Ralph. Sam and Eric is tied up, and Ralph runs for it because he does not know what else to do because he was also injured in this fight. Jack actually stabbed him in the ribs with his spear. So he's running for his life and he hides. That night, and while that's all happening, Sam and Eric is being tortured to join their team, and they finally agree to join their team, and they're put on lookout and everything, and they start cooking the pig because they did go hunting that day and they found a pig and they were cooking it. Ralph comes back and he sees Sam and Eric on the ledge and they are watching. He goes and talks to them. They give him some meat, and he said, hey, I'm going to be hiding out by here, so make sure that they don't come there. So he goes into these thorns, these creepers, and he goes and hides under them. And the next morning, I guess Sam and Eric was tortured because they knew that Sam and Eric talked to them, so they showed them where exactly Ralph was going to be, and it became a big thing. They set those creepers on fire so Ralph could come out, but what actually happens is they set most of the island on fire from that, and Ralph is just running and running and running, and he's trying to hide, and he's trying to hide and not be caught because he was told that if he's caught, they were going to cut his head off and put it on a stake. And for a child, and I think he's like 12 years old, that is the most frightening thing you can actually think of happening to you. So he's hiding and he's panicking. Most of the island is in blaze right now. Nobody's caring that it's in blaze. Well, Ralph actually runs into a officer. They seen that the island was on fire, so they came to investigate, and they were saved. So this guy saved them, and then all the boys started crying, and Jack was freaking out because, well, he murdered 2 people. So what's going to happen to him when he goes back to London? And the thing is, I hate that this book does not have a second book because it was so good. And like, I've read it before and I've seen the movie. Yes, there's a movie. If you want to actually watch the movie and not read the book, go ahead and do that, and then we can still have a conversation. I'm okay with it. But it is such a good book. I just wished, I need that closure. I need to know what happens to Ralph. I need justice for Simon and Piggy, and I just need this, okay? But there is no second book. You have to be left with wondering what goes on and what happens, and it's just not fair, because Jack needs to be brought to, like, what he did because they were on an island doesn't give him an excuse that he can become a savage and just start killing people. It's not the right thing to do. So that's my take on the book. I really, really loved it. It's such a good classic. Seriously, guys, read it. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. But if you want to see me and my family when I'm not live, or if I'm not doing a video, you can follow me on my Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat. All that information is down in the description below. And I go live every Wednesday and Sunday. So I do beauty videos. So that'll be fun. Come talk to me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye.